Hi Jeff, how are you?
Good. It's good to have you back on the podcast.
It's lovely to be back.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was you were you in this studio last time?
Probably. I'd have thought so, yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't look familiar, but man, I've done a lot of podcasts, so
Yeah.
so
You'd be you'd be forgiven, Jeff, for
yeah,
not
I
remembering
appreciate
everything.
that. I appreciate that. Hey, so I'm looking forward to seeing you in April. It's going to be
I
fun.
know.
Are you going
It
to be there the
will,
whole
won't
four
it?
days or what?
I'm actually having to leave early just for things that are happening here, but I will be there from the beginning until whenever it is, middle of Saturday. So
Oh,
most of it,
bummer. Where are you headed after
yeah.
that?
Well, I'm coming home. It's just things happening here. We've got kids going everywhere and usual
Gotcha.
stuff.
Man, you're coming all the way from England. That's crazy. And you're not even in the competition.
I know.
That's
Well,
quite a
I have, I
sacrifice.
I have sittings in New York on the way through, so it's not total um, decency on my part. I can weave those in, but no, it's an honor. I mean, it's wonderful to go, so I'm very
Yeah.
happy to.
Sittings in New York. Tell me about that. You got some sort of corporate commission or something?
I've had a bit of US work off and on down the years. For I don't know why, but it's not uncommon. I'm not there loads, at all, but I'm there, you know, every year maybe for a handful of sittings.
Hmm.
Uh, and so, yeah, like I say, it's not something I'm regularly doing,
Yeah.
but it's not unusual.
Yeah.
Um,
How old are
yeah.
your kids now?
13 just and 11.
Really? That's awesome. Well, I got to tell you, I'm glad that you won the Draper Prize last year. So for the next few years, if I enter again, I have a better chance of winning.
I'm sure you don't need me to be out of the way, Jeff.
I kind of do need you out of the way. The problem is every time someone wins a Draper Prize and we get that one out of the way, someone else ends up a great painter. So it just keeps on, the
I should
competition keeps coming.
I should fancy my chances, as we would say over here.
Yeah.
Are you entered?
Yeah, I did, but I don't think I'll get in. It's just a study, nothing special. But, I figure whatever, it's $50, not a big deal. So,
No, you enter everything. That's my philosophy.
yeah, exactly. Your painting was gorgeous last year, though. I was sorry I missed it in person.
Yes, we missed you.
Yeah, it was so beautiful. Yeah, you totally deserved it. That was a
Oh,
great one.
thanks. Well, you're happy to be there. Everything looks wonderful. So I was shocked. I mean, I think everyone says that, but you know,
I know. Well,
it
the competition's always, I mean, once you get into top 20, it's like, it almost seems like luck at that point because
oh,
everything is
totally.
so good.
Yeah. And you
So,
know that. I mean, you have to know that. If you win, you're obviously delighted, but you know that, there were plenty of deserving pictures that could have won it and that you're lucky all the same.
yeah, no kidding. So I'm excited to have you here on this new series, which
I know.
now I forgot what I'm calling it. I still got
Yeah,
I
what are you
still got to
calling
work
it?
on it. Artists, the Undraped Artist or Undraped Idols, I think is where I'm headed for this. These are
Undraped Idols? That
Undraped
works?
Idols.
Yep.
Because yeah, that's what I want to talk about. I'm assuming we're on the same page.
Lovely.
Some of the
Yes.
artists that
Yes.
you idolize, because when I had you on the podcast last, we didn't really talk about. I don't think we
Instruments.
talked about your inspirations much.
No, I don't think so. I think it was
Yeah,
quite technical. Well, it's a great idea because we are all hefting around baggage from previous centuries, aren't we? And it makes a painter, I think, what you're
yeah.
influenced by. So
So
it's a
how
really good
much? Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I was just being complimentary, Jeff,
Oh,
saying it was a good idea.
so how much? How much do you think? Well, first of all, who are the artists we're going to talk about?
Well, you asked me to pick two, which was completely impossible, or three, and that's like choosing a favorite child. I
Yeah.
mean, impossible. So I ended up being as trim as I could be, and I went with Van Dyke for one. I mean, there could have been a whole podcast on Van Dyck, but I've just chosen one head, the Van Geest head, because
Oh my
for
gosh.
me, that one was absolutely formative.
Hmm.
We saw a lot of it when we were training, and it was like a record that played through my entire education. So I have to
Had
have
you
that one.
seen the original when you first started?
I Yes, but I mean it's in the National Gallery in London, so actually it's accessible.
Oh, that's
But
so nice.
I see it often. I mean, I go in sometimes, just walk right up to that painting and then leave. Um,
You're talking about this one, right?
yeah, that one.
God,
Yeah,
this is the painting that I'm
it's
reaching for. Like, I want to do a painting
oh,
like this someday.
it's an extraordinary thing, and we were told continuously, well, you know, he was only 21, which obviously makes you want to either
Are you kidding
take
me?
your breaths or jump for joy. He was 21.
That is freaking
He was a
ridiculous.
baby, a babe. And I think I mean, there's some debates. Did somebody touch the rough after, and what was the background like? For me, that it doesn't really matter. It's the
Hmm.
head that's such an extraordinary thing. It's a sort of balance of naturalism, very observed, very from nature, but also his mannerisms are coming through, his decisions as an artist.
Mm.
And I just don't think, I don't know how that little highlight on the lower lip that suggests breath, it suggests an exhalation. It's the most extraordinary piece of technical painting and so deft. And then by contrast, you've got these enormous impastos on the forehead, which is quite sort of a matted block of thick, unctuous lead white paint. But then he can change stride again and draw, in a very elegant linear way, bits of hair in the ear and those highlights in the eyes. I mean, it's all just insane. And
Mm.
so, I mean, it was universally popular in a classical atelier for obvious reasons, but I think it's the most distinguished piece of head painting.
Yeah, it's remarkable. But you know what else is remarkable? You should be a painting critic. The way you just described that was poetic. Holy cow. The
That,
whole time you were talking, I'm thinking, if she asked me to describe it, it would be so much more juvenile. Be like, oh,
oh
and the
yeah,
imposter on the forehead is so cool. And check out how sick
that
that
works.
highlight is here. And yours is so poetic. I love it.
It's exactly the same as what you said.
Yeah, but you did it
Just
in a much
just
better way.
written Britishly.
Yeah, that's yeah, this is amazing. It's like this is one of my favorite paintings of all time as well.
It's an incomparable piece of work.
Yeah.
I don't think he really ever did a head better. I mean, there's so many that are on that level. And of course, when they get larger, the paintings, his focus is necessarily split between, balancing the viewer with other elements, like,
Yeah.
but it's just a small head. I mean, for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's really very little.
It's not life
Just
size.
it's life size, but it's in this enormous, in my view, slightly over the top frame.
Mm.
I wonder if there's a reason for that. Maybe the painting goes on behind bits of the wood, but it's cropped very close indeed. So you're just funneled to the head, which is, I'm not very good in sizes, but it can't be more than 12 by 16 inches. So
Man,
it's life
I
size.
was there in London in June and I don't think I
Did you not
saw it.
see?
Where did you see? Where was it?
But
The
just
National
you'd have
Gallery?
walked past it. It's very, very small. It's really easy to walk past. I'm always amazed that they don't have kind of arrows and, sort of look here signs.
Seriously.
Where is it? It's usually in one of those central rooms. I can't remember the names of them, I'm afraid. But yes, in the National Gallery in London,
Dang, I can't believe probably walked right past it.
well, I'm wondering whether somebody's been borrowing it, but it was there when I was last there.
Hmm.
So I think if you're in London around now, it will be there.
You
Um,
know what's interesting about that is when I was in the Louvre and I came past the Mona Lisa. And I mean, when I say past, I mean like 100 feet away because of the crowds, right?
yeah, yeah.
And it's just interesting. I mean, the Mona Lisa's fine. I get it. I get the history and everything and all that it was stolen and all that blah, blah, blah. But it's so funny that a painting like this never draws crowds. But the
I
Mona
know.
Lisa has lines around the museum.
I
People,
wonder why that is.
well, because people just think what they're told to think. It's like you're supposed to like the Mona Lisa. And
I do
so
like the
everyone just
Mona
flocks to it.
Lisa. It's I wonder yes, as you say, it's highly romantic, isn't it? Like, it's got a great history. It was the first, was it the first head? Leonardo was the first to, I think, I'm going to get strung up by proper art historians here, but to turn people to look out, to engage, and especially women. There was a sort of aloofness, you had to be in profile.
I didn't
And
know
he
that.
he had his
I
women look out.
I
And
thought it
of
was
course,
that he had invented this new way of layering paint or something.
mm, I should think
I don't know
that's also
either though.
true. They could both be true. But I mean, there's no question she's really, the expression is very extraordinary. But I completely agree with you. I also wonder whether Van Dyck's technique is so highfalutin and kind of, maybe it's esoteric, you have to know. But
Hmm.
I think it's one of the most stunning pieces of painting in the world, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Okay, so we got off on a tangent. You were listing the artists and we stopped right here. So who else? Who else you got?
Well, then the question is, can I go past Velázquez? Because that's the same thing, and the answer is no. So I've got a handful of those, or two. I think I narrowed myself down to two. And after that, I'm going to leap forward and go to Sargent because I do think about him a lot, and he's a continuous source of interest. So it would be weird to ignore him. And then I think I learned something interesting from another impressionist, roughly his dates, actually not quite, but and there's a Polish artist called Olga Boznańska, and she's interesting because I don't think she's a particularly fabulous head painter, to be honest, but her hands are a very kind of expressive feature. It's almost a lesson in how to incorporate other things to make a portrait.
Hmm.
So I have chosen her because I think portraits are, broadly speaking, composed of more than just
Is this her
head.
hands? These that I'm pulling
Yeah,
up?
yeah.
Okay.
I think I've got the portraits in there too that the hands belong to,
Right.
but it's just a question of I often think now more than I did when I was dribbling over the Van der Geest head about how you can make a portrait successful with gestures and things that aren't heads, things that you've got to entertain other stuff.
Hmm.
And so I think she's an object lesson in how to do that. She preferred painting hands to heads, from what I understand of her. So she's just interesting to tag
When
on.
was she around? I haven't heard of her.
Want to say she was born in the mid 19th century. So was she? I should have got this on my fingertips. I think she was like 1850s
Okay.
and or a bit later, and she lived until the mid 1940s. And she wasn't an absolute smoking hot deal at the time. I think she's left a nice legacy and lots of interesting works, largely in Eastern Europe. And I've not seen much of her in the flesh, but that's one of the upsides of Instagram. My algorithm led me to her,
Hmm.
and I thought, God, what fabulous hands! They're quite interestingly painted, very impressionistic. She's far more impressionistic than Sargent. Um, so something
Hmm.
different. So she's my last choice.
Okay.
So I've got four. You asked for two, and I gave you four.
Okay, so all right, so I'm this is new obviously, so I'm not exactly where to know exactly where to start, so we're kind of have to work through this together, but I am kind of curious because out of the four artists you chose, the only one that I see distinctly in your work is John Singer Sargent. So I'm
Do you find
curious,
that surprising, though?
what's that?
Are you not inspired by lots of different styles? I think
No,
you
no,
must
no, I
be.
am, but my question is like, well, my question will be as we go along.
Hmm.
I'll probably ask you over and over again, how did this particular artist affect your work? And because
Yeah,
I imagine you'll be able to tell me ways that I might not necessarily see directly, right?
yeah. I agree. I
So
agree.
with Sargent, it's clear that he's an influence to me, but the
Yeah.
others, it's a little more subtle. So yeah, so
Cool.
I'm anxious to hear about that. So where do you want to start with Van Dyke?
Yes, I can tell you how that affected me.
Okay.
Uh, we can kick off
I
with
mean, and
him.
anything else you want to add about it too would be great. But what, yeah, what is it that you took from? I mean, you already gave that great description of this painting, but what is it that you feel like you took from his work?
I think he's an object lesson in the importance of technique. Um, there are just no flies on him at all. He draws beautifully. He handles paint beautifully. He has fluid lines and an ability to control thicker paint. He's incredibly deft. It's the sort of lightness of touch. It's almost with Van Dyke, you look at him and you just think, this was just easy for you, wasn't it? I mean, and it must have been to an extent. I mean, I know he had an absolute first-rate education and ended up under Rubens's guidance, and what couldn't be more helpful.
Yeah.
But that doesn't explain it. I mean, he's like Rubens, but with bells on, you know?
Hmm.
It's just, it seems like those eyes, that exhalation highlight, it's just almost like he seemed to wish he could do it, and then lo and behold, he could. He just seemed incredibly able, like sort of beyond anything else. I would include Velázquez in that. I think Velázquez is a more astonishing painter, and we'll get to him. But there's
Astonishing.
some,
That's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm interested to know what you mean
I
by
find
that.
him, yeah, I find him more surprising.
Hmm.
Um, but don't, I mean, those eyes, that wet texture. So he's guided by nature. I mean, this was something that my teacher Charles Cecil would drum home. Yeah, he is observing things in real life and taking that as his main source, or at least that's how I would interpret it. And I'm never quite know of how that lands with the whole question of how much he used drawings and so on.
Hmm.
But even if he's using drawings and using live sittings, that's just there's a level of understanding of the wateriness of tear ducts and that little bit of the inner lid, and and there's a slight double highlight in the pupil on our left looker's
Yeah.
left eye. I mean,
And what
that's a
not to
sort of,
paint?
yeah, what not to paint, and to then say not much about the eyebrows. I mean, he's happy to paint hairs, but he doesn't want any individual hairs painted in the eyebrows too much, because he knows that that would throw off the viewer a bit. They wouldn't be able to marvel at the highlights in the eye if he did that. And so he's making these decisions about how to guide the viewer around the painting
Hmm.
that are both naturalistic but unbelievably kind of tight when he needs, loose when he needs, the right amount of paint. I mean, it's like he's arrived from another dimension to know how to do this. And
Yeah.
yeah, I find it, I mean, I'm just looking forward to see those highlights. It's just, he's sort of astonishingly technically able. So looking at that, when I was his age and I was like fighting my way out of my cast drawings, because I know they went to train very young, but you just think, my God, I'm going to have to sharpen my pencil here to even be a painter. So I think it was a lovely way of being poked quite hard and kicked and forced to take it
Hmm.
seriously. And I'll never get to that level of technical accomplishment, but I think actually as a young person, studying and looking at this image often, deluding yourself into thinking that you were much better than you were was almost impossible with that painting to to compare your work with. I loved it. I thought it was great having that in my head all the time.
Yeah, you know
Um,
what I'm trying, as I look at this, whoops, I'm gonna go, I move to another painting here. As I look at this, I'm trying, oh my gosh, when you zoom out, it's just
it
like
sings.
pops right off of it, right off the canvas.
Mm.
I'm trying to understand how he applied the paint because in some areas it's super smooth
Yeah,
and thin, and I'm almost feel like I'm seeing glazes.
he must have glazed a lot, I
Yeah,
think.
like through here and everything. And then the highlight that comes down the nose,
Yeah,
it almost looks like it's a lot of little brushstrokes. It's not one big sweeping.
Yeah. I think, or he's put down an enormous wedge of paint, waited it for it to begin to dry, and got a dry brush and sort of feathered it out. So it's
Yeah,
not
maybe
one
that's
brush
what he
stroke.
did.
And then the edge of the nose, there's just nothing. He's just used sables to smudge that. He doesn't want anyone to look there apart from to observe how beautifully modeled it is. And the same all over. Everywhere there is a decision being made, a technically extraordinary decision being made. And I
Hmm.
mean, again, it's one of those things. It's like a perfect performance, you know.
It's interesting how unfinished that ear looks.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, he didn't address everything at the same level,
No,
but it almost feels like Boku, like photographic Boku, long before the photograph was ever made, where the ear is just set back a little bit.
yeah, yeah, yes. I think that the genius is I mean, obviously, I mean, it's not about what you put in, it's about what you decide to focus on, and therefore, ergo, what you leave out. And so there's a load of stuff that's just not important. He's sort of just decided to leave it. Just, I'm going to paint it. Or the hairline, for example, he's taken a little half tone and just cut the corner on that. There's a slightly recessive bit of hairline on there, and yeah, maybe he doesn't want a pointy bit up there, taking us off the edge. It's very small canvas, and so he's just sort of finessed it, and as a matter of what we're looking at, we don't care about it. It's just it's receding back again, like you say, perhaps like the ear. It's just
Mm.
terribly, terribly clever
It
painting.
really is. Then the mouth, and I love the way you talk about how that highlight makes it feel like he has breath.
Yeah.
But what's again with that whole idea of editing, it's just wild how little
Yeah.
information there is down there.
And then the decision to have some quite mannered, stylized little hair strokes, like on the goatee bit and on the bottom of the beard. You know, some of those are quite sort of etched, like he's carving them in or etching them. So he's quite happy to have a mannered stroke, just entirely on his terms.
A mannered
And
stroke. Could you define that? I've never heard that phrase. What do you mean by a
yeah, so,
mannered stroke?
well, your mannerisms, this is possibly European um, definitions. Your mannerisms are your tendencies, basically.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you if you have a manner, so my mannerism is an inability to paint an edge properly, and I keep losing them. That would be one of my mannerisms.
Okay.
So his, I mean, I think those little, so the goatee ones,
So when you
they're
say a
sort of
mannered stroke, you mean one that reflects his mannerisms.
one that reflects him painting and his style and what he
Okay.
wants to put out there, rather than nature. So he's bent over backwards with the highlight on the lip to make a natural comment about that sort of breathiness of the lip. And then underneath decided, I'm pretty sure the hair doesn't look like this. I'm just going to have three dashes because that will represent the hair for me. And I feel like doing that. Even though in other places he's decided to be very naturalistic about representing bit of like that bit of the beard on again looker's left under other side is
Oh, here.
that
Yeah.
terribly soft and naturalistic. It totally looks like hair, but underneath the lip, maybe after all of that care and attention he spent on the lip, he just wanted to put a little bit of something different in there. He could even have been, yeah, he didn't even think about it, but I just think again it's perfect. It works perfectly.
Mm.
So that's what I think of as his style, a sort of combination of almost too perfect technique, and the Van Dyck mannerisms are um, sort of very elegant linear strokes to describe all sorts of things really. I
Hmm.
don't have any of his bigger works here because I was restrained. Very-
Well, I had Micah on here. We talked about Van Dyke some time ago, and his painting came up. But it's fun to talk with another painter about it too, because we can geek out over
yeah,
the
I
brushwork and
know.
stuff.
Well, I'm aware that this is getting
No, it's
quite
fun. Well, the audience is all artists too, so we'll geek out together.
great.
So, all right. So that's it. That's all you've got from Van Dyke then?
Well, I just wanted to, yeah, I mean, so that painting was a sort of, like I say, it was a theme tune, a wallpaper to my education when I was training in Florence. It was certainly the painting I probably would have thought most about. As for its influence on me, I just think you look at that a lot and you're confirmed every time you do that you've really got to try and get your technical side to work. So I think he's an object lesson in,
So you're not necessarily after making a painting that looks like a Van Dyck. It's just a reminder of pushing
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, and caring that, I mean, you're just aware that somebody who was roughly your age when he painted it back then,
Yeah.
um, is capable of that. I mean, the idea that you might sort of skip a bit and it'll all be fine, it seems absurd when you look at that.
Yeah.
So I think it kept me honest, and it was really helpful. And I mean, it's one of those paintings where I have never once gone off it from the intensity that I loved it when I was younger.
Right.
So I visit it. Luckily, it's near me, but I visit it whenever I'm in London, or try to.
It was such a great time to be a painter because they wore such incredible clothing. I mean, this, I don't know what you
I
call
know,
this thing,
I know they were
but
rough.
if we painted it today, it would be
Mm,
nostalgic and not really
mm.
relevant today. But
They were
it was just
blessed.
their life. That's just the way they
Yep.
dressed. It's wild. So
Yeah.
cool looking.
Yeah. It's a perfect shape for his head, isn't it?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. So I'm assuming you want to go to Velasquez next.
Yeah. Um, so obviously they were born same year, and um, again, it's just so hard to choose. But I was going to have one of Velázquez in before he went to Italy and came back with this extraordinary visual language in seemingly full swing. But again, I thought now I'll focus on the ones that I love. So this is one to pray. I think there's a detail in the next one, but the reason why I find Velázquez astonishing is he seems to bypass all of the norms of painting and arrive at the bit where it just looks entirely lifelike and real, as long as you're standing far back. But then
Hmm.
when you get up close, it's even more astonishing because there's actually not a lot there. It's
No, there's
wild,
not.
extraordinary depth of brushstroke.
You don't talk
And
about editing. Holy moly. I mean, there's hardly anything in the eyes.
Is it just me or the rest of you guys also get weirdly excited when you order new paint? Because I don't know about you, but when I get paint in the mail, it feels like Santa just dropped my Christmas presents off at my doorstep. With Vasari paint, my paint of choice and the podcast sponsor, it's even more exciting. And let me show you why. Because when Vasari shows up, it comes in this incredible box where each tube lays in this little compartment perfectly formed around the tube in this nice soft foam. And it's surrounded by velvet, red velvet. Now you got to ask yourself, if a paint comes so carefully protected and surrounded by red velvet, you got to wonder if this paint is worthy of royalty. It is. Vasari is. So if you haven't tried Vasari, you're seriously missing out. And the thing about Vasari, it's not only the best paint out there, it's also made by an incredible company that's been around for 30 years and knows its customer by name. Do yourself a favor, go to vasaricolors.com and order yourself some for your next painting.
hardly anything, and yet this frisson of life, like that guy is there and has just blinked. I always think he looks, our right eye as we look at it looks like he's just blinked, and now he's got you back in focus. And it's such a simple thing, and yet perfect to express the incredible intensity of light, the extraordinary breadth of vision, and all of Velasquez's later work is like that for me. It's sort of precisely what is necessary to say the most about the light and the atmosphere and the portrait, and no
Hmm.
more.
Yeah, this
So
is the kind of thing I've been after for a long time, and
yeah, me too.
it's really hard to nail down. And that's just how to simplify at this level
Yeah,
and have it read like this. I mean, it's incredible. You zoom out and it's like
yeah.
so
You zoom out,
realistic.
It's perfect. The form is perfect. The modeling is sufficient, to say the least. And you zoom in, and there's not a lot there. There's
Yeah.
interesting decisions like his right eye, the iris, is sharp. His left eye not. Yeah, so is he
Oh my
just
gosh, that's
learning this
true.
from, is he learning this just from looking? I
That's what
think
I
he's one.
wanted to know. No, because you don't see that when you're looking, right?
Yeah.
Where
You
did
mind you,
how'd they come up with this stuff
I
3 centuries ago?
or if you're looking at his right eye or left eye,
Yeah,
and you like that bit of expression, maybe you think, well, if I want people to look there, then the other eye has to be back. It has to be minimized in order to accentuate his right eye. Because the other, nearly the only sharp line is the shadow. Again, I love that decision. Not the eyebrow, but the shadow underneath the eyebrow going
right
over.
here.
Yeah, so on the lower side, the
Mm-hmm.
shadow that's just kind of creeping over his lid there, there's a sharp line. You're like, okay, why that one? Why not the eyebrow? But the decisions he's making are incredibly perfect to kind of flesh out this unbelievably lifelike head. I mean, I
There's
find it very
nothing in the hair. Nothing.
nothing at all.
It's just a mass of black. Have you seen
Nothing.
this original?
Yes. Now, when did I see it? And where did I see it? I think I saw it in London. Did it come to London as part of the show?
I have
Ages
no
ago.
idea.
Might have done.
But you have seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I think it's
simplicity in the
Met.
beard isn't something else. I mean, there is some value variation, but man, is it subtle.
Yeah.
Hmm. So, okay, so what about him? Well, now I actually do see this in your work. I mean, I feel like I can see influence here when I look at this and compare it to what you're doing.
Well, I think he's kind of like a mirage though, because it's easy to see what he's put down, i.e., not a lot, and almost impossible to replicate it because
I
it's so
know.
different.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I think Velázquez is the greatest painter who's ever lived. I
You
think
think
he,
so?
yeah, I
Really?
think. Mm.
What? Okay. I need you to make a case for that one. I don't have a strong opinion on it, but that's quite a statement. That the best
Okay.
that's ever lived.
I don't look at him every day, but I think whenever I do look at him, I just think, yeah, okay, fine. It's your
You
crown.
win.
Yeah.
So what
Um,
is it? I mean, I agree he's brilliant, but what makes him better than Van Dyke or John Singer Sargent?
I think, how would I qualify it? I think he's able to interpret life, nature, with the most vivacity. I think technically he is different but equal to Van Dyke. That's a close call, mind.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know how he does it.
Like you feel
So
like
with
you
Van
could
Dyke,
reverse engineer the Van Dyke, but not this one.
oh, I mean, Jeff, if I like had the best day and about
I don't mean
five
I don't.
million people to help me out.
I'm not telling you. I'm not asking you to tell the whole world that you're as good as Van
That's
Dyke.
what I'll.
But
No,
what?
never. No, but I understand it. I understand
Right. That's what I'm
I
asking.
understand that Van Dyke is. I understand that given extraordinary skills that I don't even know how you come by those. I mean, certainly I don't come anywhere near it. That I can see that that's the perfect thing. That's what you would make. This is less explicable. It's like because Velázquez started as a very, very competent and quite tight painter. I mean, fantastic work, but it was reasonably kind of drawn and piecemeal. You would have this in this place and this over here, and then he was 35 or something when he suddenly popped up with this or this language. It's a visual language which is so unbelievably capable at expressing nature, such that honestly, you look at them now, like a painting like Las Meninas famously, but I mean, kind of any of them really. There's a few in London which I see. Um, you just think it is so real. It's the reality that he's creating.
Hmm.
It's less the world's most perfect piece of painted art and more some extraordinary expression of nature through a visual language. Does that make any sense?
I think so.
Uh,
Yeah.
I think he's just stupendously able to transmute nature onto the canvas. I understand this is probably apocryphal, but he had Juan de Pareja walk around in Rome with this painting on the street to see how people were struck by it,
Really?
and whether they. Yeah, probably should have checked that out first, but that's what I heard. I think he basically wanted it to read as real, as lifelike, life on canvas. And I think he's stupendously capable of that through this technique.
And
But it's
yet,
just,
it's so loose. It's just interesting that an artist that's after absolute, well, maybe he's not. I mean, I guess we can't know his intentions, but he clearly created a painting that is absolutely lifelike. But you would think if that were his intention and his main intention, his main goal, that he'd put more into it. But that's the crazy thing about painting is that less is more.
yeah, I think that he understood something. He comprehended how, with this quite staccato brushstrokes like kind of mayhem style, I mean, there's quite a lot going on the canvas, and the brushstrokes are relatively chaotic. He understood how to communicate nature really, really brilliantly. And I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe he's less a technician and more a kind of a merchant of how you get something to look real. I mean, entirely real. But I have to say that would be to diminish how fun it is technically. I think it's fun. It's fabulous technicality.
Where do you think
I
he
think.
picked it up? If you say he just came up with this at 35, but before that he was a little more tight and
From what
refined.
I understand of him, it's been a while, so for anyone who's screaming at the computer, apologies. But I think he travelled to Italy, and I mean, it's attributed to him that he said painting starts with Titian.
Mm.
So he's looking at artists who are beginning to speak a language where you lose as much as you know, hold onto the canvas. You're not always very refined and detailed and chasing every little highlight on every little pearl. It's slightly looser. I mean, you're tempted to say impressionistic, if that wasn't so anachronistic, but it's a very loose way of interpreting nature. It's almost like trying to dump style, or you're kind of dump your mannerisms and just try and get the reality onto the canvas. I don't know what the switch was. I wish I knew. That would be the $1 million answer, wouldn't it? But
Mm.
I think he just became a far looser creature at a surprisingly late period of time. And it's quite frustrating. He had loads of jobs around the court, and you think of all the time he wasted being the king's chamberlain and things. I mean, like, Jesus. But he was court painter. He was involved in the court, went to Italy, was summoned back, and seemed to come back with an entirely different painted language. So maybe it was inspired by Titian. I don't know.
Yeah, it's often fascinated me wondering how the evolution. I mean, you can sort of see it on a surface level, the evolution of painting. I mean, it's just right there and in front of you. But it's another thing to get in the minds of the artists and figure out why they chose certain things and at the times that they did. And all I can imagine is that one artist saw some tiny little element unfinished on some other artist. The other
Yeah.
artist may not even intended it. And yet the next artist saw magic in it and exploited it a little further. And then another artist a little further, and another. Because otherwise it just doesn't make sense
No,
to
I don't.
take that leap. If you're after creating an image of a thing to look like a thing, to stop painting much of that thing, right? It
Well,
doesn't
he had
seem like a
very long.
natural.
He had long brushes, didn't he? So he obviously didn't trust himself when he got close to the canvas. So
He
he
had
obviously,
particularly long brushes, like longer than we use.
yeah, I think so. Very long brushes.
Wonder how his eyesight was.
Well, I mean, well, it suggests it's fine because why else the long brushes? I mean, if he was just short-sighted.
Oh, that's a good point.
So it's almost like he did have a few techniques in place to prevent him from getting stuck on, kind of what he would consider dispensable detail.
How long did you say these brushes were approximately?
I don't know, but I remember from understanding, it'd be interesting actually I might Google it. I mean, some people said he had some brushes really long. I mean, just that make me wonder whether he did, because how can you control, 3-foot brushes?
Huh. I'm kind of
But he obviously wanted to keep his position far from the
right.
canvas so that he couldn't be tempted to get up there and, presumably right up until the moment he placed the highlight in the eye, he didn't want to be up there. He didn't want to commit up there at all. So maybe he felt that he was more likely to communicate whatever was in front of him, the subject, better with this language if he was kept himself far away. I mean, I occasionally try that and put a block in front of the easel, but all that happens is that I annoy myself by walking into it. So that you can't go close. You have.
Yeah. I always tell my students to hold their brush like they're holding a sword, like they're Zorro.
Oh yeah.
Just
Well,
back way up because you get students that'll literally put their toes on the
yeah.
base of the H frame easel. It's like
Yeah.
and their faces are 6 inches away from it, and I'm like, back up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. So maybe that's what we should all try is massive brushes and
Yeah.
stumbling
Well,
block.
I'm Googling as you're talking, and I can't find anything right. I might have to dig a little deeper, it looks like.
So there's a book by somebody Stevenson on Velázquez. I think it's in there, but
Okay.
it's being dredged up from the back of my Stevenson's Velázquez is a little book describing him very well. It was kind of compulsory reading when we were at school. Um, so if anyone's interested, I think it's a detail from there. I think Stevenson's was 19th century kind of art critic, and so how he knows, I'm not sure. But actually, it's quite a documented court. The Spanish court was quite well documented. So there's all sorts of things we do know from those,
Hmm.
which I haven't read. So I'm no expert at all. But I think actually his life was relatively well charted.
Hmm.
So it might very well be true. I'll look it up and um, I'll find that book. It's around here somewhere.
You know what? One of the things that I think is remarkable about Velasquez, he was, I don't think you have an example of it here, but he was one of the few artists pre-camera that could capture facial expressions that were fleeting.
Yes, I
I
agree.
mean, I
The
can't.
bacchanal. The
Yes.
yeah, exactly. That's
Oh my
amazing.
gosh! He'll paint like the full grins that
Yeah,
look so
yeah.
natural.
Drunk grins.
Yeah. How? I mean, I've tried that, and it's freaking hard. Like I can't, and
So
I don't
hard.
know anyone other than Velasquez that could do it before the camera.
So hard. It's so yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah, it's incredible. And this whole series with the little people is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, so I had to choose that one. I've loved it. Again, you're sort of talking about influences, so I had to think of ones that I knew that I have loved for a long time. He did a series on court dwarfs that were around the court of Philip IV, and I think there's lessons in portraiture here. It's such a profoundly moving painting for me because he is obviously a deeply intelligent man. He's just got such a poised and engaging expression, and he's obviously learned and interested in a book. But the book is enormous, and so he's almost inviting you to mock him, right?
Yeah.
In a way that I'm sorry to say, but the hard truth was that dwarfs were in courts because they were considered people that you were permitted to laugh at.
Well,
And so,
particularly because he's got books that are much more scale in the foreground.
yeah, but he's given him a
The
total
biggest book possible.
massive book. And so what I love about this, it says something about the portrait. So he's obviously commissioned to paint the dwarfs, or maybe he's painting the dwarfs of the court because
Right.
he wants to, and his colleagues. I'm not sure what the gig was there. But what I love is how he's putting the invitation for mockery in the painting itself and then defeating that with this expression. Talk about the power of getting an expression right. This called Don Diego and Akado. I think I've butchered the pronunciation, but it's impossible to be to laugh at this man. I mean, he's just so poised. He's just so interesting. You know what you're going to think of him, and he's going to be a really interesting man, and you're going to learn lots from him. And I love how he's got that contradiction, and so it's almost like a rebuke. Yeah, you laugh at him if you want, but I've painted this expression which forbids you from laughing at him, even though by the standards of the time, like I say, unfortunately, that was what the dwarves were employed to be, was a kind of humour for the court. And I think it's very ahead of its time, frankly, this painting. But the main reason I love it is because I think it's an extraordinary, again, of course, yet another one, an extraordinary piece of technical painting. Again, there's nothing in the hat. It's really just a fabulous silhouette. I remember thinking you cannot make a silhouette
Okay,
work
you're
better
allowed to
than
do that. That's what I would think. That's acceptable just to do a silhouette like that. That's crazy.
there's nothing there.
Look at that
Wonderful
face. Do you know
diagonal.
how
It's just,
do you know how big the face is? Is it life size?
I think it's life size.
So maybe if it's this little person, it might be 8 inches, 7 inches or something, 7 or 8 inches.
Yeah, possibly. But it's such a wonderful expression. I love that little fold of his chin, like he's looked up, and there's such intelligence there. And I think, yeah, like you said about in the Bacchanal paintings, his ability to go all the way over the register of human emotions, human expressions, and to punch out with that. I mean, he's a simple painter. There's not much going on behind. In fact, he seems to have been cleaning his fingers on bits of the canvas. I'm not quite sure what
Yeah, do you
those.
think it's unfinished or something?
I just think he's Velázquez, so he thought, wow, whatever.
He
I'm
can
gonna
just
leave
do
it.
whatever he wants.
Do whatever he wants.
What in the world? Yeah, that's bizarre. It almost
Almost
looks like he was
entirely
gonna
on.
draw trees or something, and then he didn't.
Yeah, just pulled off and be like, no, I'm gonna leave it. I mean, there's virtually no color. I mean, he's making do with not much to go on. He's got the enormous book, slab of white, black, white, monochrome, and this extraordinary expression. And yet there's so much contained within this painting. Beautiful hand.
Nothing to that hand.
Just a lovely hand, isn't it? Nothing to it. Nothing to it. Just a simple way of saying I have nothing to say here. All over it, apart from everything I'm saying.
Right. I think this book in the foreground is one of my favorite elements in the painting.
Isn't it
It's
beautiful?
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. I don't even know what it is about. I mean, look at this side here. It's just a slab of white.
I know.
He doesn't even try and draw the separate pages or paint the separate pages.
But lovely lyrical line going down the sort of the sharp edge. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's incredible. So maybe it's a little redundant, but what do you think? Like I said, I can kind of see him in your work, but I'm curious if there's anything in particular that you're taking from him.
Yeah, so I think on a, how would you put it? On a sort of philosophical level, it's a very powerful portrait. Like it's doing a lot with little. It's
Right.
making lots of points. And so that's always interesting, Portraits are cultural artifacts as well. They kind of act for us in the world as a bit more than just licks of paint, Technically, it's the epitome again. I mean, so many of his of sort of less is more, and yet somehow it's the most unctuous and rich thing that you could want to look at. So, I mean, I think it is similar to the other Velázquez. I think they probably are similar in general.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like when I'm a grown up, I'm going to be really impressionistic and clever, and I still think
How old are you now? You in your early 40s or something?
40, 42.
That's funny.
The long list on my grown up list. Yeah, so I could again, Jeff, you're making me choose. I could have had hundreds, but
Yeah.
I had less Meninas in there, and then I thought, no, you probably talk about that every week with Mika, so I decided to take it out.
Wait, who did you have in there?
Las Meninas, you know, the maid servant, the massive one in the Prado with the princess at the
Oh,
front.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we go to the Polish artist first or Sargent?
Which would you prefer first?
Well, I'll just pull this up since it's next in the line. So this painting, I think, is in the Boston Museum of Fine Art.
It is, yeah.
And when I was in my 20s, late 20s, I was in Boston. And this was sitting between these two urns, the actual urns.
Yeah.
And I literally cried. Like, I was completely floored. I don't know why it struck me like that. I mean, part of it's probably some artificial attachment to Sargent just from reading about him and studying and looking at all these books and finally being able to stand in front of it. It might have been that, but I can't discount just the actual impact of the painting. It's just remarkable. It doesn't do it justice in this tiny format at all. Because I mean, this painting is massive. If I remember right, the girl in the front is life size. The little girl with the doll.
Yeah.
And these urns are what, like, if I remember right, they were at least 5 feet tall, maybe 6 feet tall.
Yeah, I think they're good 6 foot.
Yeah. So it's a really powerful painting.
It's an astonishing painting, but I'm pleased you've gone there from Velázquez because, like, there's a lot of him in here, isn't there?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I think I see Velázquez in your work. I think there's definitely some similarities there in his economy of paint.
Well, I'd love that, but I unfortunately seem to have a slight talent deficit.
I think it's great how humble you are, but I don't think you see yourself the way the rest of us see you. I think you're right up there with these dead artists. This is remarkable though. You know, when I was in the National Portrait Gallery in London, is that what it's called? Yeah. I was telling Micah this, but it was almost unfortunate just how badly John Singer Sargent wiped the floor with every other artist in that entire museum.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It was crazy. I mean, there were a couple paintings that were.
There's a couple of gems in there.
There are, but his were just next level.
Yeah.
And the one thing I noticed about, I love your thoughts on this, is I'm a color guy. I love color. I love putting lots of color in flesh and stuff. But what was really humbling was to stand in front of these paintings. I mean, I've seen several paintings, at least several from life or in real life of John Singer Sargent's paintings, but to see so many in one place, it just occurred to me how little he cared about color, and yet his flesh just was so fleshy.
Yeah.
It was so effective, and they were almost monochrome sometimes with just hints of temperature shift.
Yeah. I think he's the best colorist, isn't he? Because he's so in control. Well, no, maybe that's the way to put it. He's the most, he's very knowing about color.
Is he a colorist or is he a tonalist?
Well, I think this was something people asked him, wasn't it? Yeah, would he call himself an impressionist? Have I got that right?
Well, I mean, technically, didn't he use black? So all the other impressionists would have poo-pooed him if he called himself an impressionist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, he's probably also like his mates were impressionists, so maybe he was,
What is impressionism? You know, a lot. I mean,
You're asking the wrong person.
am I? To this day, I'm confused about the definition because I don't think it's just loose painting. There's something more to it.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, the painting outside on the spot and no black and no interest in tone, in, values as much as light and color. That would be my
I
definition.
think you're
But
right. I think I would agree with
who,
that.
I don't know. But Sargent was often outside. He was very interested in color. But he was obviously so classical with his training, and his work was always tonally sophisticated. I don't, unless I'm missing some early ones. Well, the early ones are the most academic ones. So, yeah, I think he would have overlapped. I mean, culturally, he must have considered himself an impressionist because that's the times that he lived in. A little. I mean, who knows? He's right there in the kind of mix where it was all happening, wasn't it? So,
Yeah, I feel like he almost fits more into the Velázquez camp than he does the
yeah,
Impressionist camp,
I think he's classical.
except for his watercolors and landscape paintings.
So the landscapes that I finally saw, that one, I'm now going to try and remember what it's called and fail. A sort of alpine one with a rock, and it's in the Washington Museum, in the National Gallery. Is it
With
called the National
the
Gallery?
with the like river of rocks, just a
Yeah,
lot
with
of
the
rocks.
and that tumble
Yeah.
of water and rocks and sky. I thought that was such a fabulous painting. I knew I liked it anyway, but I thought it was amazing, and I didn't see a whole lot of black in that. I mean, he must have had not much black outside, unless he was putting figures outside.
I think he could just turn it on and off. That's what it seemed like to me. If he's doing an official portrait, he can be a Velázquez, and if he's out with his impressionist buddies, he could be an impressionist.
Yeah. Well, that's why I chose him, because he's so good at so many things. He's so dexterous. And at all of the things he does, he turns out to be brilliant at them. He's a kind of Van Dykean figure in that respect. It just seemed like it was available to him, and he could switch gears and go whichever way. I mean, I used to think, to balance that comment, that he struggled with finer points like kind of eyelids and tear ducts and the top lid line or something. But I don't care about that anymore. I have to say, I think I was being a pedantic youth in thinking.
Aren't we all?
So he might not have sort of dwelt lovingly on tiny details. He always had a kind of flashier. I mean, the quality of the paint is unbelievable, and so he was obviously at home with, again, long sweeping lines and lots of paint, but also some sensitivity. There's another one in the Boston Museum of the girl with her arms over a tree, sort of hanging out in an olive grove,
I
and
don't
she's
remember that
draped.
one.
She's a sort of working girl in a Mediterranean context, and she's draped over a tree, in profile. That sort of olive-skinned girl he did quite a lot of, and he's able to pick out a thistle in the foreground with such precision. So again, like you're trying to find his weaknesses, and then it turns out he doesn't have any really.
I've heard you. What's the name of that portrait where it's the two kids and they're sitting on a red rug that's laid over
Oh yeah, I
bed
had
or
that one
something?
on here
You
for a
did
minute.
have that one on here?
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere that he took some crazy number of sittings to do that painting. The
Yeah,
kids were probably all, jittery and restless
brilliant.
and whatnot. But when it was done, it looked like it was easy
Yeah.
for him.
So he would scrape off, wouldn't he? He was a very palette knife happy painter. So if he didn't like it, he would scrape it off and do it again. So he wouldn't try to finesse it or fudge it. He
Yeah, I
wasn't
don't
one
think
for a
he was alla
fudge.
prima. Usually, I think he could be.
Yeah. I think he was painting in layers, wasn't he?
I think he was. I've had this discussion with a lot of artists. In fact, I even think he glazed on occasion.
I think he could, yeah, definitely. He could definitely glaze. Because
Be-
you can see sometimes he's whipped something, usually with a massive brush, to just knock back, a bit of drapery or something.
Or he'll like have an arm. I know other people have given alternative explanations for this, but I still think that he used glazes for this. But he'll have an arm with vertical strokes all the way down the arm. And yet the form turns left to right, you know?
Yeah.
And it seems to me that it would be nearly impossible to get such a smooth turning and have vertical ridges in the strokes
Yeah.
without glazing. To me, it looks
I
like he's doing a little bit of that.
I think he was capable. I mean, I remember hearing that he never veered off brushes. But actually, even if that's true, you can glaze perfectly well with those.
Yeah.
And,
Uh,
the layering up, as we know, the layers that you produce, one on top of the other, they are creating a lot of form and translucency in and of themselves. So he's got plenty of shots to go back and go back and go back and reassess. So I think his appearance of spontaneity is just that. It's an appearance. I think he was a very considered painter, personally.
I wish we had some. This one's pretty clear.
It's very hard to find. I'm sorry.
No,
I
that's
didn't
okay.
run around the internet trying to find.
Well, you know what? The difference in my mind, there's obviously going to be a lot of subtle differences, but the difference in my mind between John Singer Sargent and Velázquez, at least in considering my limited exposure to both of them, is Sargent had this sort of graceful, almost calligraphy like stroke,
Yeah.
where Velázquez felt more aggressive, more
Yeah.
more
More organic, isn't
more
it?
organic. That's a good way of putting it. And every now and then you can't see it on this one, but I'm sure it's there because it's almost always there. He'll just come in with a really sharp edge along the shadow edge of the nose, but it's
Yeah.
just a really beautiful, well-controlled stroke all the way down.
Yeah.
And it's just like he was very dexterous, just he just feels so coordinated when he paints.
He's so coordinated.
Yeah.
That's the right one. Again, he can just reach for whatever he wants. And I have all the time in the world for the raw power, and Olga Boznańska comes into that category for me. I don't think it's technical for her, it's a sort of rawness. But in here, he's combining this languid stroke, which he has everywhere. It'll come up again and again. Extraordinary understanding of light, extraordinary understanding of composition. There's quite a lot of dodgy, potentially worrying compositional choices in this painting, and of course they all come off brilliantly.
I know, it's
But
weird, isn't it?
to put a massive red arrow
What is that? I know.
on the right-hand side, it's a screen, isn't it? It's a sort of draft screen.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure
what I
you
assumed it was. Yeah.
But, that's not completely straightforward as a choice, but of course it's great. I mean, it's balanced by the red dress on the other side and that very strong little girl standing with her dark legs against the pale. But, would you be brave enough to make that decision?
I would not have painted this painting, but
Me neither. What's the pity?
but yeah, why is it working? I don't know. I mean, and also you got this parallel line from
Yeah.
the wall edge and then the shadow it's casting that's totally parallel to the rug.
And he's quite happy to leave it there.
Yeah.
It's broken by her head.
Do we like it just because it's John Singer Sargent? What if a living artist did it? Would we be more critical?
I think this is an incredible piece of technical painting.
Okay, I'm because sometimes it's hard to know what drives our likes and dislikes. Sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's
Yeah, so I think it's audacity first up. I agree with you. I hadn't seen it in flesh and then I did. I was incredibly tired. because I was trying to remain awake, having flown over. And so I put myself in the museum and sat in front of it, transfixed for an hour more. And I think it's just full of audacious but successful choices. It's really impressionistic, like looking out through the back. He gives you an exit past the screen, past the red arrow. You end up going out of the
There's
painting.
nothing there.
But there's nothing there. And then these children, which are again in white, but they're so muted and carefully receded. That's just not easy. And it's very atmospheric. Also, again, the job of a portrait is to explain about a family. You kind of know these people. It's very cleverly done. Yeah, shy and retiring child, independent child, the one that's kind of helpful always, and then the young child on the rug. It's just pure charm.
This is the helpful one in the red.
No, I'd say she's independent. I think the shy one is side on, the one looking out of us from the back.
Right. No, I got that as the shy one for sure. But which one do you think is the helpful one?
That one.
This one
Oh,
here.
yeah, that one.
Okay.
But again, I could be completely wrong. It might be that she is a total terrorist, but I think that there's a sort of sense of personality that's coming through, which is important in portraiture. Like you have more of a job to do than just to set up a nice composition and say, right, I'm off. I'm going to do it now. I feel they're working. I feel everything about it is working, and it's lush, like all Sargents. It's edible. The paint quality is amazing.
I love to imagine his relationship with his client, because I've had experiences where I've done families and, well, I'm thinking of one in particular. It doesn't happen very often, but I'm thinking of one family commission in particular where I clearly had an imbalance of focus among the kids. You know, one kid has a lot more attention than the other kid, and so on and so forth. And when I presented the compositional idea to the parents, they loved it because of what you described, because they could see the personalities in all the kids. That was the whole point, right?
Yeah.
And but then they showed the kids after they'd approved it. And a couple of the kids were like, "What's up with that? Why am I like the one in the background? Or why am I the one who looks like a troublemaker?" You know, and I had to kind of talk them into sticking with the composition.
Yeah.
They did stick with it. But I look at this girl right here in the background. I still don't know what she looks like. I wonder what her parents thought. Oh, should we really put one of our 4 kids like in the background with complete profile and no detail in her face at all?
I know.
It's an interesting choice as a commissioner, as a patron.
It is, but as you know, I mean, as you said it, you can't have them all facing out, and you can't have them all looking out.
It's weird that he has 3 of them looking out, though.
3 of them are looking out. I would say, again, that's pretty audacious.
Yes, this whole painting is audacious.
I think it's just such an extraordinary piece of work. And I love the space. So, yes, it's an enormous picture, but the space works. You know, so often you see yards of canvas and yet somehow it's flat, you know? And this is a painting where it's very big. So when you're standing in front of it, a bit like Las Meninas, you feel like you feel like the room is continuing and that you could step into it. That's a very powerful physical tool of painting life size, is that you're just engaging people in a naturalistic way that, you know, they believe the space to be real. So that's a huge tool. But it's beyond that, like everything works. The perspectives work, the distance works, the artistic choices, though they're very brave, they're completely successful. Lovely highlight on the urn. I loved the highlight on the urn. And her petticoat, the girl on the left.
Skimming it.
Yeah, there's just so many things about it. But I think he's thinking about Velázquez. I think he must be. Those, again, even the girl on the left with her little black stockings. It's very like those court paintings of kings standing in their silk stockings, you know, with their sort of beautifully carved calves and their nice shoes with their little frills on. So I feel it's a very classical painting, painted in a modern style, very emotionally resonant. I think Sargent goes underappreciated as quite a profound psychological painter. I think he's very good at reading people. And I think he's just sort of nailed it that this time it's just a kind of total triumph. Again, I could have chosen other ones, but I think that one is.
Yeah. It's also interesting how all the girls are in black and white except this one, which is opposite this
Yeah.
red screen.
When you made a decision to put that much vermilion within about 1 millimeter of the edge of the canvas,
He's
you've
got to
got
bring your
balance.
eye back over.
Yeah, he's got to bring it over. And she's obviously extremely bright too. So, you know, he's again cleverly telling us exactly about the light source by having her ping out as such a bright white, her petticoat, her smock or whatever it is.
Yeah, a focal point. I guess you've got this focal point,
Yeah.
but this is a major one. Arguably the greatest, most impactful
Yeah.
of there's multiple focal points of the focal points, and it's right at the edge, almost a tangent.
Right. And then he's put a vertical line just to the left of her left elbow, just to our right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big vertical line. Is that sensible? Well, seems to be working. And he's cleverly then put the rug on the diagonal that goes up to meet that line.
Yeah, what the heck?
And then you could think that's a bad idea, or you could think, well, I need to link it in, so I'm going to cut across the canvas with that rug edge in order to bring us across right-handed. But again, it's just very clever.
This is the problem
rug-
with composition. It's so elusive. It's, you know, my students will often, I mean, I teach them about composition. There's rules of composition, but they're clearly meant to be broken when you look at paintings like this.
Absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, it's just, you know, yeah, you learn the rules, but the greatest ones clearly
And then
aren't paying
break-
attention to them.
Yeah, break them discerningly. But I think
Yeah.
you're right, though. You learn them because there are do's and don'ts, and then disobey them, you know.
But knowing
But do
how to
knowing,
disobey them, that's
yeah.
that's the crazy thing. That's the elusive part. It's why is this acceptable when it seems to break so many rules of composition?
I think I mean, he is speaking a technical language which allows him to get right away. So, for example, it's a very sharp line, that bit of wall to the right of the girl in red. But then it's not. By the time you get to the top of the painting, it's hardly there at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, without sacrificing the structure of that wall, we believe it. We believe that there is now a recess, and that, you know, there's the vase, and we can see that. He's gone up and lost more and more and more and more of it, and
That's
then
a
towards
good
the top of
point.
the painting,
Yeah.
it's not there. So he knows the rules. He knows not to hang on to that line. He's also got a little faint yellow line, almost like there's a panel
Yeah.
just within, just to make the point that, you know, it's not a boring space, and, you know, don't get stuck here, but I'm just going to put this little detail here. And then we skim along the top of the vase and we're back down in our composition. It's just very clever. So it's more like, know the rules. If you're going to break them, know that you're breaking them.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think the other one that's an obvious decision is that I'm not sure that screen, the red arrow, would stand up like it's an arrow. Would it not have been parallel? Parallel lines?
It does look
going-
strange, doesn't it? It looks like it's
But
falling
again,
over. Plus,
it
this
looks
line at the
like-
top here
Yeah.
doesn't feel
It
natural.
looks like it's moved, you know, but again, we don't care. Again, that's a good rule of thumb for anyone. It's like you are painting your own world, so there's a certain amount of gravity that goes with you. You know, you can
Yeah.
make stuff up. But
Well, you know what it's like? I've been so impressed with your ability to describe these paintings in such a poetic way. If you had made up a word right now, I'd just believe it was a real word. I'd be like, well,
you
she
never
said
know,
it.
Jeff.
She
I could
said
have
it.
smuggled hundreds past you already.
It's got to be in the dictionary because, man, you should hear her talk. It's something else. But I mean, all joking aside, that really is kind of what it's like when you have this level of expertise and control. It kind of opens up a lot of doors as far as composition is concerned. People start to accept weird stuff because it's like, well, I mean, it's got to be that. I mean, subconsciously, I mean, like, why would you
Yeah,
question it when it looks like this?
I think definitely. And we were all doing it, aren't we? All the time. Making a conscious choice not to follow, what is in front of you, for artistic reasons. That's why we're not, we're not copyists, or what's the word for a literalist. We're not mapping. We're
Right.
not topographers. We're painters. So there's loads there that is out of us, not out of the reality.
Yeah.
I've been doing Jeff's online mentorship program for about a year now, and it is awesome. Everything is online, super streamlined. If you can be there, I mean, you have the ability to talk to him once a week and he can review your work and help you. If you can't be there, it's pre-recorded. You can go back and even re-watch things if you missed something during class or couldn't be there. So the online portion of it is almost better than real life because you can always go back to it, which is awesome. The demos are recorded. It's just like all available whenever you need it. And I'm a stay-at-home mom of 4 and my time is limited and it's also very interrupted. And so to be able to go back has been clutch for me. And you get to work with Jeff HEIN, who's awesome. He's tough. The assignments are simple, but difficult, and they're difficult to make us all better. And he's able to give us these assignments, coach us through it, help us stay excited to progress. And so it's just been a great experience. I am so grateful that he has been willing to take time away from his own art to offer all of us to have it. So if you're thinking about doing it, it's amazing.
To learn more about how you could have me as a personal mentor, check out the link to HEINatelier.com in the show notes or video description.
So one thing that I noticed about this, that I literally struggled with this on one of my paintings recently, because I had a rug that's not too dissimilar to this, and then a dirt floor.
Okay.
And it just occurred to me how similar it is to the painting I'd recently finished. And man, the whole time I was painting it, I kept asking myself, can I leave it this unfinished? There was this constant inner battle with myself. Like, it's not finished. I got to do more. I did leave it somewhat unfinished, but not to this level. I mean, look at that floor. You can see the sort of herringbone pattern.
Yeah. So he's helped out by
But
that
it's
bit.
bare. It's like there's nothing there. It's just a few strokes saying, oh, herringbone floor, done.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to say, that's huge for me. I really want to be able to.
It's hard to do that.
Really hard.
Yeah.
Really, really hard.
And that,
No, I
if
think
you
he's
think this
very
is
good.
10 feet tall too, probably at least, right?
Yeah.
So that means that the level of looseness in this,
I think the carpet must be very deliberately loose,
it's
mustn't it?
got to
And
be
he must
so
have
loose.
washed out the colour. It's really a kind of foil for the vases.
Yeah, if you blow this thing up so she's life size, then this rug, there's nothing there.
Nothing there.
It's remarkable.
So clever. Because it's quite a warm painting, but that rug is just great. It's just cool, and it goes with obviously some of the tones in the dresses, the white bits. But those vases are, he's so clever with his colors.
Do you think he moves stuff around?
Oh, definitely.
You do. So he might have moved that rug so it's lined up there, and moved the urns and the,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Or made a decision. I don't know how he worked precisely, I have to be honest, but made a decision to have it there and moved it when he was just looking at the canvas. I'm sure he was more capable of manipulating things.
Yeah. Okay.
He's
All right.
very clever.
Yeah, he's something else. All right. So what do you got? Let me see. You've got a bunch more here. Are they all the Polish lady?
No, hang on. Oh, what do I thought I had another sergeant. Maybe I did. Okay.
That's not Sargent, is it?
No, that's the Polish lady. Okay, well then I've
No.
oh, her.
That's not a
Eloise,
Sargent.
that's a Sargent, yeah.
That's a
Eloise,
Sargent?
Elise Palmer, yeah.
Never seen this one before.
Is it Elise Palmer?
I don't know. I've never
Yeah.
even seen it. How could I tell you there? I have no idea. That's a Sargent?
Yes,
Well,
that's
it
the
looks
heritage.
like it when you get this detail, but I have never seen this one.
Well, I really struggled to find a decent photo of it. But actually, it's to your point, Jeff, about colour. The reason I chose this, and I'm feeling that it's a waste of time because actually the larger one is so over-coloured, is that I chose it because it's a real case in point of how to control subtle colours. This was in the
Yeah.
show in Boston that was last year.
Was it? Oh man, I wish I saw it. Boy, that color is different. This doesn't look accurate to me.
Well, it was. It's
Is this one more
so I found
accurate?
one. Yeah, so it's basically there's the wood paneling behind, which is roughly the same as her hair,
Yeah.
and then everything else is this kind of and it's red carpet, and so you have really strong red, really strong paneling color, a sort of what do they call that? Is that linen pages or something paneling behind?
Mm-hmm.
Really dominant, and then these incredible sort of harmonies in pale pink and whites. It's just beautifully painted drapery. Again, his usual economy, but I hadn't realised until I saw it, and I wonder why this is maybe why there isn't many photos of it on the internet because it's an absolute sod to get right. But there's a sort of woolen rug half on her, the bit that's on the right
Yeah, right
of her
here.
skirt. Other side, I think, that thing folded round and off her knee. And so and it's got
Oh,
pleated
this
skirt.
whole thing?
Yeah, that. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was part of her
I just
dress.
love the decision. So did I. But so she's wearing this kind of pleated set of skirts.
Oh, this is the
Yeah.
other end of it. It wraps around her waist and then comes down.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's so clever because you look at it and you think, oh, wonderful, that's lovely. That's not nice, a nice sort of lot of pink clothing. But it really rewards a close look, that painting, because how he is constructing the colours, how he is lending focus to some, shifting through. Sometimes it's kind of almost yellow, other times it's very nearly white, and then this kind of dirty, dusky, really nice dusky pink bit of wool that's wrapped around her. Again, it's a triumph of how you make, because he loves that very sort of full frontal, just sit the person down and paint them, and then uses the clothes to make the melodies. And it's a really good example of that. I loved seeing it in the flesh. It was, I don't know where it lives, but it was in Boston, which is not very helpful because that's finished now, isn't it? But I think she's called Elise Palmer. I don't know if she's British or American, but I could Google it.
God, that
But
face. So tell me what you meant earlier back when when you were in your early 20s and you said that at the time you felt like you could do more with his eyelids. What did you
bring
mean
it
by
up
that?
again. My pretentiousness is getting another airing. Um,
Well, you've repented. It's okay.
yeah. No, well, actually, I mean, so the is the eye on our left quite aligned? I mean, it doesn't matter, but it's impressionistic. It's not. He's not pursuing those shapes down to the last degree, like even Van Dyck, obviously, but Velázquez absolutely knew where everything was. He was just making choices as to where to throw focus. Sometimes I don't think Sargent is as technically glorious through tighter areas. But then, as I say that, I think I would withdraw that now because I've seen more of him
Mm-hmm.
and have seen him, absolutely spellbinding magic making with quite tight details. So, yeah, like I say, I think it was by comparison to being in an academic training myself, I should think,
Right.
and viewing him as more impressionistic. Um, I think, he's a great painter. I mean, there's no flies on him at all.
Yeah, it's interesting well, I can speak for myself at least. When I was just learning to paint, how my tastes were so different because I just knew so little. So I didn't appreciate the brilliance in some things that at the time felt so simple.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that's what's going on with you, but I
No, I think it probably is because you develop slowly,
yeah.
don't you? This is a very long process of accumulating your thoughts.
Well, like I think even a lay person would look at the Van Dyke and be completely blown away when seeing a detail. Whereas this one, you maybe you almost have to be a painter to appreciate how difficult it is to do this.
Yeah. I just say also, I mean, everyone is carrying the baggage of their time with them. I mean, Van Dyck is growing up in the Netherlands. He's seeing exquisite still lives of sort of incomparable detail that you can't even believe. So probably that's just leaking into his subconscious. It can't not be.
Mm-hmm.
Sargent is in an impressionistic environment. That's his world. I mean, I think it's very difficult to buck the trends of your time completely. So, you know, he's emblematic of his time. It'd be interesting to see if you transplanted them temporarily, put one of them in the 17th century and one of them in the 19th century, what would happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be interesting. I imagine they'd both just reinvent themselves, but who knows?
I have a horrid feeling that it would be really brilliant. We'll,
Yeah, I'm sure
we'll
they
never
do
know.
fine in their
Yeah, that'd be fine.
wherever they were planted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, one thing about her that I've noticed when I do portraits is you can't undervalue the importance of a good model to a painting. I mean, if you start with a face like this,
Yeah.
you're getting a good start. I mean,
But also, Jeff, like it's a decision, isn't it? I mean,
right,
so she's
picking the right model. Yeah.
and picking the right pose for that model.
Mm-hmm.
We've all seen beautiful models, and then you actually get them there, you sit them down, you think, okay, well, there are actually 3 ways that this will work, not 100, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so she's a pretty, pretty girl, but it suits her to look out so boldly. You know, she's just staring us down, and she's got the right kind of poised expression to do that. And I think, again, that shows that he is very sensitive to how he's got a psychological job on his hands as well for the portrait. I mean, it's a really symmetrical painting. Everything, the panels, the hair,
Yeah, it
the
really is.
clothes. I mean, there's just a tiny bit of shade. He's brought the hair right across the face. Um, he's made that decision, and it's a triangle basically, isn't it? From the eyebrows down to the chin.
Hmm. See, this is the thing about him that I think makes him stand out. I'm going to pull up the details of Velázquez and Van Dyck. Look at the simplicity in the value range in the lights on his. I mean,
Yeah, it's unified, isn't it?
yeah, it's his values are always so close together in the lights. Where there's a lot more drama in these two,
Yeah,
more contrast
yeah.
within the
I think
light shapes.
yeah. But also, I mean, I think 17th century artists tend to paint under that classical light, you know, the 45 degrees blast from on high,
Yeah,
you
true,
know.
true.
And so you're getting this smack of kind of heroic light. They were creatures of their time, and you were really just extending a compliment to a person to paint them in that way because they had beliefs about, you know, this forehead as the seat of learning, and so you have this big blast of light, and so they had all their, you know, cultural baggage with them. By the time Sargent's come along, he's free to drop that light right down, so it's just raking gently across her, place her in a room that he wants her to sit in,
Well, he looks like
rather than,
he's using north windows, is what it looks like to me.
yeah,
What do you think?
for a cloudy day.
Really? You think a cloudy day with windows, though? because it's
With
obviously
window.
coming from the left.
Yeah, no, but it needn't be the same massive height. I mean, so looking at the shadow under her
Right.
chin or under her nose, I would say that it's quite lowish. It's coming from above, but not.
Just barely. Yeah.
Yeah, that creates that more diffuse light.
Yeah.
Whereas Juan de Pareja is clearly lit from above, and the Van der Geest, I mean, it might as well have just been beamed in from vertical, you know.
Yeah.
But very flat light, but clearly very high. But
Hmm.
these are probably taboos that you wouldn't break, you know? If you're a 17th century painter, you're hidebound by your time more, that I would suspect, than Sargent was.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, this Velázquez is really, I didn't notice it before, but it's quite high lit. So I'm trying to imagine where that studio's set up. Very high windows or off to the side of a skylight or something.
Yeah, good question. I don't know where he was when he painted that.
Hmm. Hmm.
It was 45 degrees, wasn't it? I mean, that's very high.
That's quite high. Yeah. I mean, it could be, I've
That kind of
seen
gold.
studios with high windows, pictures of studios throughout history with high windows, but
Yeah,
it would have to be that or a skylight.
yeah.
But do you not notice that pattern though, aside from everything you legitimately pointed out? That John Singer's, that Sargent,
The unification of values.
well, yeah, just that despite the lighting situation, for some reason, I just feel like it's almost like he's underplaying highlights and stuff and just
Yes, no, I
evening
know what you
out the
mean.
skin.
Yeah, no, I think he's very good at that. And the skin is always very luminous on his work.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to get me to pick a favorite here. I mean, you've asked me to pick favorites. This is as best as I could do. I
Yeah.
love Sargent. I
Yeah.
love
These
that.
are three remarkable painters. I mean, this is clearly the one that I see most in your work. Actually, this is a perfect order right here
Okay.
of influence, as far as I can tell, from here to here to here. But so for those listening, from Sargent to Velázquez to Van Dyck. But maybe that's just my impression. Maybe you feel differently.
I always think about Sargent. I think about him most because he's so dexterous. He's so able in so many different moments. I
Yeah.
mean, he just has an enormous range. So yeah, I think about him loads.
Okay, let's look at this Polish painter.
Yeah, so I just wanted to throw a bit of light on her because I think she's rather interesting. It's very impressionistic and it's totally different. But I'm focused on her.
Looks Russian.
Oh, yeah, it is. Where did she mostly get her painting done? She's Polish Russian. It's a similar, yeah, that kind of school. And again, you asking me my influences. Well, I think one of the things that has been helpful for me as I've moved on through my career is to look at artists who don't paint like me, really. And I don't necessarily want to paint like them, but they are doing something really interesting that I have then taken off and tried to learn from. And she's a good example because I feel like she gets just about as much said with the hands as she does with the head.
Yeah,
And
yeah, you were right. More in this case.
but she felt that herself, so it was not unconscious at all. She would so you've probably got, oh yeah, so yeah, it's really difficult to get close-ups of the
Yeah.
hands. They're very impressionistic. There's virtually nothing there, but they seem to have a power to them, and it's been really interesting to look at painters that have this ability to get a lot said with not very much at all.
Yeah, that's remarkable. This is the kind of painting that is so hard to interpret.
It is so hard to do, though. I mean, you talk about economy. I mean, she's not even pretending.
Yeah,
But there's
except it's so many layers. So
so
in a
many
sense, the finish looks economical, but the process was anything but, because she didn't do it in a sitting. She did it over who knows how many sittings, which makes it
And it's
so much more mysterious.
yeah, there's a meat, a kind of density, a lack of interest in an edge if it's not needed. Just lose it. Just keep going. It's kind of like emotional painting, but it's very. I think it's fabulous. I love her hands. I look at them a lot and try to think of how. Again, it's not like I'm going to suddenly take up this style, but it's been really useful to look at people who don't paint like you, but and you don't necessarily want to paint like them, but it's just a wonderful thing to look at how they have got such powerful message across with something. In this case, she's very economical.
It's remarkable when you squint at it how it
Yeah, it's just a blob.
just looks completely real.
And there's a tension. She's gripping that. It tells you something about that little person. Why so hard? Why are you gripping hold of it? Again, you've an obligation as a portraitist to be a bit of a psychologist, and I think she's very good at making a point with hands.
Look at those flowers. What do you think about the flowers?
I actually don't like the rest of this painting. It's one of her most famous ones. I think the little girl is rather those black eyes seem out of register for me. I don't want to insult her. She's a great painter. I love her. But the reason why I picked those ones was because of those hands.
Yeah.
She's an impressionist. I mean, I think she's a really talented blast away, go for it impressionist. And I like looking at those painters. Again, as you say, it's got a Russian feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
A sort of very impressionistic, painterly, unctuous, thick, dense paint feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
I just like looking at them.
Is this her as well?
I think they're probably the remaining ones are. Again, I've picked
Okay.
the portrait. That's a pretty intense looking guy, but again, their hands are really good.
Whoops, I'm losing control here. Okay, here we go.
I think there may be details. I mean, she could paint a decent head. Again, lovely.
Yeah,
sort
I
of
agree
Russian
with you though. It's not what I. It's not.
very rapid.
Why is she so good with hands? I mean,
I don't
painting is
know. Again,
painting, right? It's just shapes.
It's just shapes. I don't know why she focused on the hands, but she felt that they said more about a portrait than a head.
Yeah, because you're
But
right. Those hands are. I mean,
it is
even these
quite-
aren't. I wouldn't say are the best that you sent in, but like this, geez, Louise, man.
Yeah. But again, so the theme of the evening is economy, isn't it? And I think she's very good at saying lots in little places and then just not saying anything when it doesn't suit her to. But they're very good props in portraits that work all the better for having them in. So it's just an interesting lesson for me. I always think about that because I love painting heads, so it's good to have people that remind me that portraits go all the way up and all the way down, and you've got to lavish your love and attention on lots of different bits.
Mm-hmm.
So she does that for me.
Yeah. Look at. I mean, this hand right here is just a blob.
It's just a blob. Yeah.
But when you squint down, there's just so subtle a value shift that you can make out the four fingers.
Yeah. So it's just this, it's an impressionist skill, isn't it? To use a lot of paint and to be very thick and to be very unsubtle and yet also very subtle.
Does this one go to a full figure or is it just the hands?
I can't remember.
I think it's
actually.
just the hands.
Maybe just the hands. I think I gave you, there's one
There's
that's more
one
famous.
here. Okay.
Yeah. So I love that whole portrait, actually. I think it's a lovely painting. But this was the one
That's
I
a good
first
head.
came.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love that head, and I think it's very clever painting. I like silhouetting, and I like the pale background, and his pale face, and his dark hair, and the red, and I think it's a very well
Yeah,
done
that's a
portrait.
great painting.
But those, I think, were the first hands I came across of hers. So she had me on that detail. I think I came across on, like I say, I think it was Instagram, early days when the algorithm cared about what you wanted to see. It sent me those, and I thought, oh my God, okay, that's talented.
Yeah. He's got some nice long nails there.
Yeah, I know, slightly long.
Yeah, he does. I thought they were lady hands at first.
Yeah,
Yeah, those
but
are remarkable.
it's beautifully painted. So yeah.
Again, like if you look, well, let me turn off one of these images so I can zoom in. These are the types of people that I just want to watch paint because
Yeah, I agree.
because it's so hard to reverse engineer this stuff. I mean, look at
I
that
know.
thick stroke right under there. It's not
Yeah.
even, I mean,
No. How is she doing it?
what is she doing? Like, what is her path? There seems
I don't know. I have no idea. And above the knuckles, so you've got those beautiful highlights on the nails, but then go up, and there's a ring there. But then what's going
kinda,
on the other one?
yeah,
It's just mud. It's just a kind of muck, and yet it's all hanging together.
yeah, it
It's clear
reads.
what's going on, and
And it's very
it's just
different
yeah,
than this more controlled muck, you know?
yeah,
I mean, you see these rough, loose brush strokes over here,
mm,
but they're also very precise and intentional.
yeah,
Where on
yeah,
her, you're almost, I mean, I personally, I'm just like, what? Why? Until I
yeah.
zoom out and yeah, it works.
I think it's the same overarching principle, different time and person. It's just you don't need to articulate every thought on the canvas. You select, and it's the process of selection that just shows a kind of visual intelligence, a language spoken very well,
Mm.
very fluently.
I think this
Yeah,
is
kind of
so much more important today more than ever,
oh
considering
yeah.
imagery is so readily available and easy to come by. If an artist isn't interpreting today and making creative decisions like
Yeah.
these three artists, it's getting to the point where probably we're going through the same dilemma they had when photography was first invented, which
Mm,
probably has some effect on why she paints like this.
yeah.
But we're just we're getting to the point, it's like, why even paint if we're not making these kinds of edits?
Well, and can they you can anything make edits that's not a human mind? Yeah, this is the AI thing, isn't it? But
Yeah.
I really do wonder about that because one thing we've said over and over again looking at these images is how you have rules and then you break them. And there are rules of thumb all over the place here and they get violated and then painting progresses. So it's just a fantastically creative, rather idiosyncratic, messy business. And I'm not sure anything can do that that's not messy and organic itself. And I don't think AI is going to teach people. That's the next thing. It's like I don't think it's a generous teacher. Um, I think you've got to learn this stuff the hard way. I know that's such an arsey thing to say, but I think it's probably, you've got to go to your school, you've got to go to my school, you've got to figure it out very slowly and incrementally.
Mm-hmm.
Make your mistakes, that's very vital too. Failure's built in.
Yeah, I remember that article you sent me. You wrote about AI, and
Oh, it's so boring.
what's
It's
that?
quite high tension. I think a friend of mine said, I know you were writing it tongue in cheek, but you sound really angry. So sorry about that.
Well, I am angry. I hate AI. It's something awful. But
So I saw your podcast there were four of you, and I thought, oh, that's so interesting. You were the one of the four that was nearest to my views.
really,
Um,
yeah, I just don't like it. I mean, no judgment on other artists. If other artists want to use it,
no,
that's fine. But
definitely, definitely.
it's not for me. Yeah. But I would love to have you, because of that article. I need to get you back with a panel and talk about it. I'd love to have your opinion made
Well, I'm
known.
forming it. I write, actually, I didn't send that to anyone, apart from some mates. I write really to organize my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was really just an exercise in getting myself sorted, what I think about it. So I think I do have opinions now, but then I don't use it, Jeff. So am I missing something? Probably. But as a positive defense of doing it the other way, for especially young artists, I'm happy to make noise on that, because I really, really think that they would be better served by going through an organic path rather than outsourcing all of the bits that teach you stuff to a machine. But yeah, we'll see what it looks like. I mean, it's ubiquitous now, isn't it? So
Yeah. I've played with it a little bit since we did that podcast, and it hasn't changed my
did
feelings
you
at all.
discover? Oh, really?
Oh, heck
Okay.
no. No.
Oh,
It's
I've never played with it. Maybe I should.
I mean, not as far as my art is concerned, but like I just sort of started giving it prompts and trying to get it to create images and stuff, and
Oh, yeah.
it just feels it just feels, artificial. It doesn't feel like making art. It feels like having a discussion with a robot. I mean, it's just doesn't. It's a very different experience.
Yeah.
So, but like I said,
I mean, if people are enjoying it, I think that's great. I mean, and I am coming from such an old-fashioned school of painting, then it probably seems ridiculous not to use it if you're a much more modern painter, and that's fine. Like you said, crack on. No judgment. That's not the point. But talking about these techniques and how they've come down the centuries, there is a fragile thread that runs down art history, and it would be a real pity to have it fray too much. And so I
especially
hope,
because over the past 30 years, realism has finally made a resurgence, and then AI comes and it might kill it all over again.
yeah, I think AI does pose a threat. And actually, yes, of course, let's take portraiture, survived photography, but it would have had an impact. It wouldn't have been cost-free. There would have been people put out of work because there were no longer, whatever, etchings instead of, photographs instead of etchings. And so when the machine is like 50,000 times the size, like AI is huge. I mean, a camera, an early camera was one thing. AI is just it's a whole different beast.
Mm-hmm.
How much more the effect? I mean, I think we've got to be honest about the costs that will be inevitable. But maybe it'll be more fun for more people to have it, and then that's fine. Then we just need to make sure that little areas of arts are preserved, which is the question, how that works.
I think the biggest thing, the most important thing is authenticity. I know that's sort of cliche, but as far as I'm concerned, like we had both said, it doesn't matter. You do what you want to do. It's your life, whatever. It's not like it's some sort of a sin, to use it. But what I do think is a sin, in my opinion, to art is to use it and not disclose it.
Yes.
Like if you are doing paintings and you don't literally have it written on the back of the painting, this painting was produced using AI, then I think it's completely unethical.
That's a lie, because we have an expectation that a painting competition is made of people who are doing paintings in certain ways. And so, to fudge in there,
Yeah.
it's a fib, and it's a potentially quite pernicious one, because
Yeah.
other painters will not have their work in that show if you have successfully used AI to a point. And again, it comes back down to do what you want, etc. But there are very scarce resources aimed at our kind of art, that people compete for and are desperate to get their hands on, because it's a real boost in their career. And it's a pity to water that down. I mean, maybe have another competition, or another show or
Sure.
something that is AI art, and that's fine. Why not do that? But over here in this little bit of the artistic universe, there are lots of people trying to make it, and you make virtually no money starting out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
They're very precious resources that, I would like to see preserved for that group of artists.
Well, and besides a contest, if I buy a painting from an artist
Yes.
and they didn't disclose that they used AI, and then I found it a couple years later, I've had a painting made by AI on my wall, or made in part by AI on my wall.
Yeah.
I'm going to feel a little bit cheated.
achieved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a lot cheated. Not because the question isn't whether it's better. Well, I do have an opinion on that. I think that's probably pretty clear that art made without AI is more legitimate. But regardless of that, that's not the reason. The reason is because it's not
Yeah.
authentic or transparent.
I think it's the authenticity, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's effectively part of the process has happened entirely in the dark as far as the artist is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally just come out of the dark, you
Exactly.
know,
Yeah, that's how I
as
feel.
if by mail order. And, you know, when you're buying a painting and you really love it, you feel you're in kind of direct communion with the artist and the subject, and it's kind of bubbled up, not just been flown in by.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just disclose it, I think would be a really good rule of thumb, and there will be more and more competitions and opportunities, hopefully, where all of those people can flourish.
Yeah. You know what? An analogy just popped into my head. It almost feels like this. Imagine you're a high school student and some girl, or in your case, guy, gives you a love letter and it just melts your heart and you save that love letter for years.
Yeah.
And then one day you find out, and maybe even marry this woman or man. And then one day you find out that not only did they not write it, but they're incapable of writing that stuff. And it was all done by AI. And you've cherished this beautiful letter, and it wasn't even
Yeah.
their words.
Yeah, that's a very good analogy.
And that's how I would feel if I bought a painting done using AI without being told, right?
Without being told.
Yeah.
It's the without being told.
Yeah. But full circle, I do think that paintings done this way, the way of Sargent, Velázquez, and Van Dyck, and who's the Russian painter again?
Olga
Or
Boznańska. Bit of a
sorry,
mouthful.
Polish.
Boznańska.
Boznańska?
Boznańska.
Boznańska. Okay. Slaughtered that one. I think we're going to see, I don't know. I predict we're going to see a little bit more of this kind of work.
I actually agree with you. I think it feeds into a kind of a love of authenticity that's resurgent in times of kind of a slightly over digitized world. I weirdly I'd swing between being fine about it and not minding too worrying about it, but
That's
I agree.
where I am exactly. Yeah, we are on the same page. I swing between complete anger and like, oh, maybe it won't be so bad.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's something I think the whole community should talk about, just to get straight on what we all think what we all think we should implement if we're implementing anything as norms.
Well, you know where I'd like to end here before we wrap up, unless there's something else you want to say about those artists.
No.
I'd like
I
to
kind of
look at your arc again real quick. Which I know you're probably, because you're very modest. You're like, oh, not after those artists, but
a little bit of that.
yeah, I say that because that's how I would feel.
Yeah.
And
well.
I'm forgive me, I'm not quite prepared. I'm going to pull up your Instagram real quick because I didn't plan this, but there you are.
Can't think what I've gone on there now.
What's that?
Can't think what's on there at the moment.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. You know, anyone who knows your work is probably thinking the same thing I think when you're being modest, in that you are in the same league as these artists. You really are, but it's great that you can't see it, because otherwise, I think if you saw yourself that way, you'd stop growing.
Well, you are being quite kind, Jeff.
But these are just remarkable. I mean, geez Louise. Oh, I saw this painting earlier today. Yeah, this one right here. I mean, freaking talk about economy of brushwork. I mean, that is just remarkable.
Well, it won't surprise you to know that I was thinking of the Van der Geest head when I painted that. I was just trying. It's so hard to get into these people's minds, but I wanted to try a sort of a slightly, because I often do quite large paintings now, and that's a little painting really for me, life size, but not a big
Is it just
work.
the head?
It's the head and a little bit of body, but just something to really concentrate on the head. Just go on the head. You know,
Right,
that's
right.
the focus. That's all there is. It's just go for the
Well,
head.
where is the whole painting?
I think you might want to go down. It's not that. Keep going. There,
And
on
you,
our right. Up a bit. Up a bit. Up a bit again. Go to the dog and then go right.
there it is. Okay.
So I
Yeah.
actually could still trim it. It's actually hanging on my in-laws. That's my mother-in-law.
Oh, no way. That's cool.
So I could trim it further. And I don't have a ruff to work with, sadly, as you say. We don't tend to wear those. But I could trim it down and have it cut more in the sort of collarbone, sternum area.
Was that a gift to your mother-in-law, or did she pay for that?
No, I've it's just hanging in a house. I mean, that one I think I'll give that one to one of my kids. You know,
Jeez,
but
lucky her.
it's just hanging there for now.
And then this is the Draper Prize winner, which is
Yeah.
absolutely remarkable. My gosh. Speaking of hands.
Well, I wanted to be economical on color and just have one dash. I'm sort of into yellow at the moment.
Yeah, those shoes are something else.
I did still want it to be broadly economical. So to have bits that were somewhat less in focus than others. And it's all the journey, isn't it? I mean, you know, you're just figuring stuff out permanently.
Well, you've got that same thing I described in Sargent, that graceful brushwork. I mean, this little mark right here in the cuff, so brilliant. It says everything it needs to say, and yet it just stops completely boldly and almost out of place, and yet it's, you know what it is. It feels like the shadow cast by the cuff.
Yeah, so I'm trying into that space that you describe, saying it, trying to make it work visually, and not saying much more, and then trying to revel and enjoy other bits in a bit more detail. That is, I mean, of course, I was happy with that painting, otherwise I wouldn't have entered it, but, you know, you always feel, I'm sure you're the same, a sense of the space you'd like to be moving into.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm never good enough. It's very frustrating. God, it's a gorgeous one too. We'll
That's
stop
my,
here. I don't, since we want.
that's
Oh, these are
that's my,
different paintings.
so that's me and my year-end review.
I don't know if
Of
I've ever seen a painting at this stage from you. This is interesting to watch. Yeah, that's great.
try to do some progress videos. I find it really hard. I find it very distracting to remember to do it.
I don't, I can't even remember the last time I did. I can't. It's so hard to remember to do that kind of stuff.
I should do better.
I know, me too. I sort of, social media is just one step behind AI in my sense of loathing. I just really,
Well, I know what you mean.
I just hate that we have to do it. I want to go back. I mean, you're 10 years younger than me, but I want to go back. Well, I should say 9, not a whole decade, but 9 years younger than me. But so I don't know what your experience is. What's that?
You're a wee nipper. That's
Yeah.
what we call you up.
But when I started out, it was magazines and galleries. That's it. And we didn't have to
Yeah.
market ourselves. You just paint a painting and someone else marketed you, and it was great. Now it's like you got to be a little bit of a narcissist to get by, which is
So the
really
talking
distracting. Uh-oh.
was like,
You froze a little bit. I'm sorry.
hello? Hello?
You froze for a sec. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what were you saying?
Yeah, no, I think I'm less uncomfortable with it than I was. we're a generation that's had to get used to seeing ourselves, hearing ourselves. I mean, I never did any of that before. It just never came up before social media came along. But I suppose it was around the same time as our cameras got into our phones. But I loved Instagram when I came on it, but I was really late. So I was like 2015 or something. And it just showed me amazing artists from everywhere. And I thought, oh my God, this is incredible. But it has just changed over the years. And now it's
Yeah.
a bit of
Well, I should walk that back a little bit. Obviously, I do have a complex relationship with social media because I couldn't have this podcast if it weren't for social media.
but I know what you mean.
Yeah, but
It's
I don't want to do it. I'm glad everyone else is doing it. I just don't want to do it. You guys keep making your videos to entertain me, but please don't ask me to do it.
No, I'm similar. I feel the same.
Yeah. Well, that was a blast. I think that went really well.
No, I'm loving your new series. I'm
Yeah.
very honored.
I'm going to call you and get you back on for the AI discussion. I need someone, a strong, opposition on my side. The next one.
I shall be on your team.
Yeah, that'd be great. Anyway,
No, I've loved it.
yeah,
Thanks, Jeff.
it was great to see you, and I'll see you in April. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. See you then.
All right, have a good one. Thanks again.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks for tuning in to the Undraped Artist Podcast. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. And if you could, leave a comment or review. That really helps the channel. Please share the show with your friends, and if you're feeling generous, consider a monthly donation at theundrapedartist.com. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next week.